Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today I've got a different unboxing and one that you should all be rather excited for. Because today I'm unboxing a Heinkel, which is the namesake of this channel. It's the Airfix Heinkel HE111H6, which is, in my opinion, the logical first Heinkel to be on the channel, because it's the most commonly known about one, in my opinion, as it featured quite heavily in the Battle of Britain. So on the front of the box you got a really nice looking box art of the Heinkel blowing up a ship. Not my favourite because it's a, what's the word for it, computer generated. And it's got three different schemes along with safety information along the bottom of the box. The only reason I'm away from my usual desk is because this aircraft, or the box, is too big to fit on my desk. So on the top of the box, you've got a small bit of information about the different schemes, along with a bit of information about the aircraft, along with the Airfix logo, and find the paints you'll need, flying out, and the club, and the skill level. This is skill level 3. Now on the back of the box, it's got information about the Airfix club. These only happen with normally the older Airfix kits, as you can see by all the older capsules. On the bottom of the box, you've got pictures of what it should look like built but not painted. On this side, on the sides of the box, you're gonna have to take my word for this, but it's basically got this, apart from the big schemes. So let's just get into the box, shall we? So I should also mention, I've taken the parts out of the bags, and it also has information on the inside of this inner box about how to build the kit and painting and stuff like that. And there's how to do transfers. Let me just show you what we've got. We've got some parts with, I've got no idea what that is, but we'll have a look at that later. We've got a lot of parts, some massive wings, but it's a big old aircraft, and a huge case of clear parts and the pieces from the sprue. So just pop them over there, and of course we'll first have a look at the instructions, as we always do in these videos. So on the front page of the instructions, it has information about the aircraft in many different languages, along with the specifications and a bit of history about it. On the first page it has safety warnings and what these icons mean. On the first page it looks like you start to build the interior of the box. I'm just going to move that over that way a little bit. First page you got stuff about the interior of the aircraft, which looks really detailed. Decals, they will probably come in handy. And on here, this page, you're assembling, putting the fuselage together along with the lower part of the wings. Here you're assembling the cockpit and what looks to be the landing gear wells or the engines. And of course you're painting the pilots and the seat. On here you're putting the wings together, and of course putting the flaps on, along with the rear tailplanes, back of the engines, and some small details. And here of course, on this next page you'll be assembling the landing gear, along with putting the clear parts, along with the gunner in. You're going to be putting more clear parts along with the rotors, and finally you'll be putting more torpedoes on and bombs. And next up you've got the paint scheme. So this is the German one, it's another German one, but I think that's the African version. And then of course you've got the Romanian one along with the decal paint. And that's it for the instructions. Now let's move on to the parts. First off, you've got this part that's fallen off the sprue, and of course we're going to have a look at the clear parts first, just as they're here and easily accessible. So from my perspective, they look really high quality. I can't see much scratches or wear and tear on them. So I just put those back in the bag so they don't get damaged. Now onto the parts. On this first sprue, the parts are slightly detached, which is quite disappointing. And of course, this seems to be the wheels and the wings and the tail, parts of the tail. Next up, we've got, not sure what's on here. This looks like to be the under part of the wings. Here we have what looks to be most of the ordnance, the propellers and parts of the engine. On this sprue, you've got the two pilots and the gunner, and more propellers and more various details and stuff. And finally, we've got the fuselage, which seems to have like this. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think this is what happened when I took out. This was there when I took out the bag, from what I can remember. It looks like it's just been scratched a lot. Quite disappointing. I'm going to have to mark the parts down for that one. And finally, we're going to have a look at the details. The decals. There's loads of small details, and of course there's the three different schemes. The Romanian one, the North African one, and the other final German one. They look quite high detail. I don't see any issues with them. So yeah, I can't fault them. Apart from they look a little bit yellow, but that might be the light. That's probably be the lighting because it's quite a lot darker in here. So now onto the ratings. With the box, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because it's really high quality, and of course all the damage was caused after me getting it, if you can see any of that. The only thing that brings it down like usual is the box art here, which I don't like. Now for the parts, I'm going to have to give them 7 out of 10. Because they've been brought down by the gunk on the fuselage. Other than that, they all look really good, apart from the pilots have, as though they're moulded as the seat, which is quite disappointing. For the decals, I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10, as I just can't fault them. And I'm going to give the instructions an 8 out of 10, because they're really high quality, but it would be nice if they could show them in colour, as you're assembling it, it's all painted up. And now onto the scoreboard. Finally, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day. Goodbye.